Welcome to my daily review. Today is Thursday, August 21, and you're looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, which fell another 73 points today, or 0.34%. And it closed at 21,100 with 30% below the average 50-day volume. Here you can see the volume's really drying up as the index is really cautious. I should say the index is reflecting caution from investors ahead of Jerome Powell's speech from Jackson Hole tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. on the East Coast, 7 a.m. on the West Coast. So half hour into the session, he's going to be talking. We're going to see how the market responds to his speech tomorrow, and I don't think he's going to say anything different than what he said for the last, I don't know, however long. But you're looking at this rally here on the index from the Nasdaq, and it's been a long run. It's been from the low of 14,784 on Liberation Day up to the high of 21,803 on August 13th. It's a 4 month run. The index is up 47.5%. So a little bit of give back is expected. You could see here on August 1st, it undercut the 21, but then rallied back up. But now here we are again below the 21 again. This is really starting to show weakness. And we had an inside day today below the 21. You could see the 5 starting to curl down, the 21 starting to curl lower. If you take a look at the weekly chart, this 42, what did I say, 47.5% run. It's been 18 weeks. And if you look at other rallies that we've had since this 2022 bear market, we had in the spring and summer of 2023, we had an 18-week rally before we corrected. Then in the end of 2023 and the beginning of 2024, we had a 20-week rally, which is, more than that's 4.5 months of rallying. Then we had a little bit of a correction. We had a 12-week rally and then a bigger correction, then a 15-week rally. So, if you do the math, it's usually, 14, 15%, excuse me, week rallies. All right. 15-week rally is probably average 14-week rally. And we're here at 18 weeks, 47.5%. I mean, it's time. I'm not saying that it's going to correct, but it's time for it to correct. It would not be, out of the ordinary. It'd be quite normal for it to correct now after an 18-week rally and a 47.5% move. That's a big move for an index. This week it's down 522 points, 2.42%. So, yeah, been a rough week for the Nasdaq. And if you're in growth stocks, that 2.5% turns into 5, 6, 8, 10% very fast. Because the growth stocks, momentum stocks, they're great on the upside, but on the downside, they're painful. So anyway, I want to move on because Walmart. Well, hold on. I guess I'll go to the IWM because the IWM was up today. It was just stronger of the indexes here. And this looks like a nice little shakeout here to the 21. So, this is the riskier market index considered to be, the higher risk index. So this one is up while the others are down. I don't know. Maybe he says something bullish and dovish because people, I think, are expecting him to be quite hawkish. The SPY was down nearly 0.5% today in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. The 30 stocks down 1/3%. No big deal. Walmart, which is a component of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the report, if you listen to the reports from Home Depot and Lowe's and Target and Walmart, it's pretty clear that the, consumer's slowing down a bit. Walmart is not, a cheap stock. You can see the PE ratio. There's 41 on this thing. 800 billion market cap. Got a little bit of a haircut today, 4.5%, with big volume. So, the report wasn't all that bad. You could see the sales growth, 4, 3, 5. That's kind of what it does. But I just think investors are they're being more cautious now and expecting, the consumer to slow as we head into the fourth quarter of 2025. All right, so Walmart was the big one that reported earnings today. I'm not going to get into the others. I'm just going to move on to what was working today. This will be a short video. Um, there was not a lot working. There was not a lot going on. A lot of the stocks are making on the new high list were, below $5. The stock's up with volume where a lot of junky stocks that are, um, low priced, low quality. So it was just it's been a cautious week ahead of Jerome Powell. But the gold stocks rallied today, Sandstorm Gold making new highs, breaking out. You always have to go to AU when you think of gold because this has been the big winner in 2025. This is still a top 10 group here, rankings wise and performance wise. This one pulled back to the 21, popped. But a lot of these SSRM, another one making a new high today. Just Franco, Nevada. This one reported earnings earlier. It's got this base on base pattern. That's a nice little 5-day handle here. One, two, three, four. Yeah. So it popped nicely. Franco Nevada. That's a textbook move. MAG is a silver play. And this one popped out of this little wedge pattern. Very nice, making new highs. I know people don't want to really own too many commodity stocks, oil and gold and silver, but I'm just reporting, what I see today. And this is where the strength was. Kinross Gold making new highs here. Another, gold stock looking good. Newmont, this is one of the bigger ones. 77 billion market cap, making a new high today. And then, of course, AEM is another one of the larger ones, 70 billion market cap, making new highs. And who else do we have? Oh, WPM. Yeah, okay, that's enough. Okay, popping there. All right. And then DRD had a big move today. I think they had news. And anyway, all right. Yeah, nice 8.5% move. So the gold stocks were, strong today. How about that? Same with the drugs. The drug stocks have been really strong. There's like over 800 stocks in this industry group, and this thing has managed to rally up to, nearly a top 20 group, and it's got a ton of low priced, junky stocks in there. So for this to be doing this, making a move like this, there's a lot of high quality stocks in here, and INSM is one of them, making a new high today. That one looks fantastic. RIGL, Tom Petty stock, won't back down, just keeps cranking higher, surfing the five there. A lot of these drug stocks that I'm showing you just surfing the five. Yeah, Wall Street wants to own these, and there's a good reason for it. A lot of these are making money. This is MDGL, Madrigal. This is thought to be of a buyout candidate too, up 10%. So a lot of people like to speculate on buyouts. Halo, another one. I mean, this guy's going to earn what, $6 in 2025. You got strong sales growth, strong earnings growth. There's a lot to like here. This one's straight up off the bottom, 47 to 71. Yeah, a lot to like here. I know people don't like drug stocks, but because they crash and burn, you get a failed trial or bad data like we saw from Viking the other day. Oh, that's a nice haircut, 42%. That's going to be in timeout for a while. So that is what scares people away. ALNY, but you have to know what you own. This one, once again, strong sales and earnings growth expected here. Surfing the five, RYTM. This one's got the Rhythm Nation. Gapped higher. This is why we pay attention to these gaps higher, up 37% on July 9th. Just pulled back to its moving average and then pop. Man, this thing traded above 100 today for the first time. So we'll see how it handles that large round number. LGND, the legend. I call it legend. It's Ligand Pharmaceuticals. Once again, look at these earnings and sales growth numbers. This is pretty strong here. Expectations for this company, and it's just surfing the five. So there's a lot to like here about this one. Yeah, it broke out of a base. This thing's just trading high up. And you can see here, yeah. I don't know. The estimates are for. The quarter over quarter is kind of lumpy for drugs because of the insurance and all that. So you really have to go year over year comparisons. All right, let's go here to, I think that's it for the drugs. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. Some of these stocks from other countries are performing well. I wouldn't call them emerging markets, just, I'm just going to go through some names here. This one's from Mexico, wireless provider. 285 million subscribers in 24 different countries. AMX is the ticker symbol, America Mobile. It's an ADR. And you can see the cup with handle moving higher. This one looks fantastic. Made a new high today. And yeah, I'm just going to go through these. I'm not going to really comment. You can see for yourself here. This is TIGO, a Luxembourg base. This is one that I did trade earlier. I had around $30 and then I sold it, a big win. Like it went to 33. I made 10% yippee. And now it's at 46. All I had to do was hold it, but I don't know, I'm a dummy. But yeah, that one's strong. Another one, Deutsche Bank. These European stocks were really strong here in the springtime, and they cooled off for a little bit, and they have just really continued to ramp this summer. Deutsche Bank looks good. That's German, well, of course, Deutsch. Deutsche Bank, kind of obvious. German bank, it's in what, 56 countries, 1,300 branches. Yeah, just showing a lot of strength here. GILT, this is an Israeli company, telecom services, and this made a new high today. So, just looking around, just browsing here. BZ, a couple of China names here that are doing well. BZ is one, made a new high today, up 6%. FUTU, they just reported earnings recently. Yeah, made a new high today. So that one looks good. MNSO, they reported this morning. It was kind of hidden amongst the Walmart, Walmart earnings report, but a nice pop here, up 6% with massive volume here for MNSO, MNSO. All right. What else do I have? Oh, the tobacco group. Now, I heard a report today that Americans are drinking less and less spirits and wines. Alcohol consumption is way down, lowest since 1950. So maybe they're turning to vaping, tobacco. I don't know. Maybe the GLP-1 drugs have something to do with it, but the alcohol business is hurting and this tobacco industry is doing great. This is BTI, a British company. But there's other TPB, Turning Point brands. This is another one, loose leaf chewing tobacco. Just put a pinch between your cheek and gum. Turning Point, having trouble with 100, but that's a nice little flag pattern there. And of course, the steady eddies, Altria, MO, the ticker symbol, making new highs, and then PM. This is the old what is it? Marlboro Man, right? Don't they make that? If I go to the weekly, it might give me some brands here. No, just cigarettes, tobacco. Okay. But consolidating in a base there, up 5% today. There you can see it now above the moving average there. So, yeah, the tobacco stocks were pretty strong. All right. This morning I told you to look at some leaders, and I just got to point a couple things out here. First of all, Palantir, people, what's wrong with Palantir? What's wrong with Palantir? Nothing's wrong with Palantir. This thing ramped from 60, what, 60, what is that, 66.12 on Liberation Day up to 190. That's a 187% move there in 4 months from April 7th to August 12th. And so now it pulled back a little bit and it's down this week. It's down the last couple of weeks. I go to a weekly chart here. Yeah, so it was down 5% last week and down, 12% this week. And I know it's, undercut the 50 yesterday and rallied back above, closed today, 2% above the 50. And that's a win for me for Palantir. I told you to watch the lows here on these stocks, and that definitely held the low 142.34. We'll see what happens in the subsequent coming, days and weeks, but that's a win for today for Palantir. These things have had big, big, big moves. Robinhood is another one. Yesterday made a low of 99, held today, very nice day. But this one ran from 29.66 up to 117.70 on August 12th. So another 4-month run, and that's 297%. They need a break, folks. And that's why I say if the leaders will tell you more than the indexes will. And, these things just need a break. And I don't know, it could go sideways. They correct through price or they correct through time. And if this one wants to correct through time, I believe it's been about 5 weeks already here. If we count that high of that 113.44, that week in July, one, two, three, four, yeah, 5 weeks here of just going sideways. And there's nothing wrong with that. after a big move. I mean, you look at all the model book stocks from back in the day, Cisco Systems in the 90s, it undercut the 50, it undercut the 200 all the time, but then rallied back up. So, then Robinhood's done the same thing. I'm not saying that Robinhood is NVIDIA, but, I'm just saying it is a model book stock, and model book stocks, they undercut their moving averages often. This red line here is your 50-day or your 10-week, and the black line is your 200, which it did right here. And look at how many times it's come back to the 10-week line or the 50-day all the time, all the time. And then here it undercut the 200 again. This is earlier in the year, back when we had that the tariff crash or whatever. And then since then, it's been riding its moving average, but now it's pulled back to the 50. But what I'm saying is all the model book stocks do this. They pull back, they undercut their 50, they undercut their 200, and they rally back. So, this is probably a classic, buy the dip. If it does dip, like I say, they correct through price over time. It could just ride the 50 for a while, it could come down to the 200, or it could just, make new highs. You never know. Anything can happen in the market. But I just showed you, 18-week rally. This rally's tired, and some of these stocks just need a break. Reddit, ALAB, SoFi, Palantir, Robinhood, they all reported fantastic earnings. They're all up a lot, and they're all pulling back, and there's nothing wrong with that. Reddit, nice quiet day today, inside day. Just watch for the lows and see if the lows can hold from Wednesday there. The low was 205.37. You don't want them crash. I don't want to see them crashing below, these lows and really, seeing a lot of selling, because that means the market's going to correct for a while. And it might. So this is why I'm watching closely. I did mention ALAB. Low yesterday, 161.39. We'll see if that holds. A stock that everybody talks about. NVDA, they're going to report next Wednesday, the 20th. The low there was 168.80. Let's see if that can hold. I don't expect a big move from that one until earnings. Microsoft 500 is the key to watch here. Did undercut the low from yesterday, though. So I just wanted to hold above 500. That would be great for Microsoft. Google needs to hold the line at 200, just right there, close right there. That one's kind of trading with the index. And a couple of the more, riskier names, Lemonade, it breached 60 a few times. I think it's going to make another run at that eventually. I don't know when it wants to. TeraWulf, they got this flag pattern. That one looks good, allowing the 5 to catch up. Definitely another one that I'm watching in the crypto space is IREN. This one's just consolidating in a nice box there, ready to break out. Very powerful stock. MP undercut the 21. My buddy sold at the low today, 64.82, because it undercut the 21, and he says, I'm going to sell it, I'm going to sell it, I'm going to sell it. Finally, he sold it. And then as soon as he did, it ripped up into the close. He was so mad. I said, you could always buy it back. But he's going, nah, I'll just wait till Powell speaks tomorrow. But that's just the way it goes in trading. Win some, you lose some. NBIS, pull back to the 21, the low yesterday. 6201, we'll see if that holds. TEM, another strong stock, man. If we had more tailwinds from the index, I would definitely take a swing at this one, even though it's 3.6% above its 5. That, 75 area is definitely intriguing for me. That's a very strong stock. A couple other names that I didn't mention this morning, AppLovin, which I should have, made that low yesterday of 385. Popped today up to like 432, almost 431.86, and then pulled back. But a nice day for AppLovin, 43% of the daily range. And then the last one is NEGG. This one is, you got a tiger by the tail here. And I just got to mention that every time it rallies up, makes a new high, like on 7/11, July 11th, it ran up 71%. The next day it pulls back, right? 26%. It did it again here, ran up, made a new high. It was up 43%. Pull back the next day, 20%. Right here, it makes a new high. 34% move. The next day it pulls back 12%. Then here it's a 2-day run up to 133. The next day it pulled back 21%. had an inside day and just formed this little, pattern that it continues to do. And then yesterday made a move of 24%. Today followed up with a 5% move, but it took out that old high of 133 and made a new high of 137.84. If it follows the pattern, it's going to be down probably 10% tomorrow. Yeah, $10, 11, $12. Pull back to that 100 level, which is where the 5 is, right? 106. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Another pullback, undercut the 5. That's been the pattern for this one. Anyway, thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up, except in honor of the great Steve Jobs. I have one more thing, and that's Zoom reported tonight up 5% after hours. Zoom was the COVID darling. You can see here, monster stock, and then sold off once COVID was resolved. Workday, and we don't want to go through that again. Workday down, the software enterprise has just really had a hard time, down 4% after hours into it. I bet you this one's down as well. Yeah, down 5% after reporting tonight. Then Ross stores, retail's been a coin flip, hit or miss, pretty tough, up 2% after hours. I'll have more in the morning on those. BJ wholesale reports tomorrow morning. I'll have more on that. Anyway, thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up.